evacuate the building. We can go out this door here to my right, Mr. Polvino's office. We can go out the back door, head down the left, move as far away from the building as possible. Could you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I didn't check the list. Is anybody here to speak in public forum? No? Oh, yeah, I'll check that. Sorry. Here, give me all Mrs. Perry for next time. Thank you. Okay. Right. Somebody move action 1.06, approve November 12th regular minute meetings.
Move it.
Meeting. Second? Tongue. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. For President Report, we have our meetings through December and January. We have a couple of board meetings, policy meetings, and a safety and security forum meeting. Any questions on any of those? All right.
Quick question, Brenda.
Sure.
Do we have another workshop scheduled for before the end of the year for the budget stuff?
Not for the budget. Well, maybe in.
So we haven't finalized anything yet.
Hold on. We had a list that Mr. Lisi gave us. Do we have one in December or is it January?
I think it's Jane.
So let me pull it up. I think we put in a couple of options, and one of the options, unfortunately, was the same night as the safety and security.
That's correct.
Let me find it.
Good question on him.
I talked to Don, and he wasn't sure the exact date either. He said, we had a couple we were looking at.
Here it is. I had put tentative dates, December 17th, January 7th, or January 21st, which won't work. And then another one in.
So do we want to put a hold on December 17th, just to have it there, just in case?
Yeah, let's put that on
Does everybody
tentative.
want to have that as a tentative? What's that?
Are you-
December 17th.
Sure.
For a tentative budget
Yeah. Does that
workshop.
work for you, Tim?
That works for me, yeah.
Okay. Yep, let's put that on the list for the tentative workshop on the 17th.
Great
Day
question.
before policy, right?
6 o'clock.
Yes, because
Here?
it's Tuesday
Yep.
night, that's correct.
6 o'clock here. We'll see y'all then, maybe.
Then it looks like another one was scheduled for March.
And then March. And do you have that date? Kate?
March 4th.
March 4th, okay. Perfect.
Very good, thank you.
All right, if there are no further questions on our meetings coming up, I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Palvino for the superintendent's report.
Thank you. So I'd like to start off by just wishing everyone and the entire staff, going to send a message out tomorrow to our families and to our staff, but just want to extend, wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Much gratitude and appreciation for everything that our staff, our students, our families do in our community, all of our community members, board members, everybody to make this machine work. It's a complex organization, and thank you for all you do, and I hope you have a wonderful break. And it seems like every year we start off with the Fulton Blessings in a backpack, and how appropriate to be on the week of Thanksgiving, but also thank you so much for the work that you do. So if you please come forward, Mr. and Ms. Trout. Thank you.
From here?
Yeah, that would be terrific. Thank you. And I'm driving, so just tell me when I have to move the slides.
Hi.
You told me
Hi.
you don't want me to say anything,
Oh.
so this is.
Come here, you got the figurehead. You're the face of blessings.
The face of
Hi,
blessings.
I'm Susan, this is Craig. We've been leading the Blessings team in Fulton since 2017, but actually Blessings has been in your community and in your schools since 2012, so it's 2013. So this is our 12th year of doing it. And I just I made a little slideshow of a retrospective of what we've done since January, so here we go, okay? We began the year feeding 270 kids every week, or 260. And then in January, we had an email from Fairgrave teacher. She's had an explosion of kids in need. Can we send more bags? We said sure. And then we canvassed all the other 3 schools, and Granby also had increased needs, so we upped it to 270. And that's how many kids we fed every week for the rest of the school year, 270 kids. So it worked out well. The only difficulty was that when you receive things in cases of even numbers, i.e. 6, 12, 8, and then you get 270, I was really pushing my math. Now, working the calculator as to how many cases and how many more we needed, because 270 just didn't divide in any way, shape, or form. That is it's not from a Fulton kid, but we've gotten writings like that. Me and my family love your food. We hope you bring more delicious foods. We've gotten some very heartfelt notes from Fulton kids. I've shared some of them with donors. I've shared some of them on Facebook. I've tried, we are bound to maintain confidentiality, but it really makes a difference in their lives, and it keeps us going. It keeps us going. Okay, next. All right. In March, we had a great loss. One of our best volunteers died, and his family said, please, if you want to make a memorial gift, you can do it to Blessings in a Backpack. So in April, we began receiving money that we have never received at the end of the school year before, and what to do with it. And one question we've been asked ever since we began is,
Here at this meeting also.
what happens to the kids in the summer? And the very simple question is, because we distribute through the schools and with the help of Golden Sun buses, nothing, for us. So all of a sudden I realized that you had this summer school program that was open to everybody, and that was available for the youngest up until 8th grade, right? And so all of a sudden we had schools we could distribute to if we could get the food to them. And of course our volunteers needed a break. What you see those 2 boys there holding, we call them pre-packs. They are available from the National Blessings. Those happen to be put out by a company named Optimum Foods, actually, in New Mexico. They contain these 6 to 7 items, 2 breakfast, 2 protein, 2 snack items that we are mandated to give every week. They're in these fancy packages. We said, well, we can buy pre-packs, and then we don't have to get volunteers to pack the bags and blah, 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 blah. And so we did find out that you don't kind of order a large amount of pre-packs at the end of the school year. We had trouble getting them, but we were able to get pre-packs, and we worked with Tammy Sheldon and the other teachers that were running the programs at Granby and the junior high, and at Lanigan, the extended school year program, and said, we'd like to send you these cartons, can you, give them out? And they said, sure. So this was our big summer program. Next. And there were the cartons, and the lady on the left, it was her husband and her family, who was, who set up the memorial. We brought the cartons, 5 to Lanigan, and then we divvied them up to the junior high and to Granby. And, I was a little concerned. I said, they're gonna be hopefully not a burden to the teachers or, sitting around or whatever. The teachers said they were very well received. They didn't see it as a burden. The kids thought the packaging was real cool. So what the hey,
But I mentioned a couple of things. The pre-packs are a single menu, and it's the same one every week. Okay. What we do, we have 4 menus, because we pack the bags individually. So I think there's something really to point out there is a variety that we're able to offer during the school year is greater, but in the summertime, this was a perfect solution to be able to feed kids, so just a point of information.
We build it as a pilot program, because of course it depends on funding and you having the summer school program like you did for summer camp, that type of thing. What we built on was the previous year, of summer of 2023, we had a request from the extended school year program at Lanigan if we could make up some bags. And we did do that for that very small program, but this was much larger. We sent 492, we were able to get food bags to the schools, so. You're gonna see a lot of pictures of big cartons. And then we start, this is a typical shipment from Cisco Corporation that we get once a month. We get, you might read Apple Jacks, but they are the school Apple Jacks, the high fiber, low sugar. It is the school, whole grain.
Low sugar.
Even the Scooby snacks are whole grain, low sugar, it's the same stuff that you buy for your schools. And the nice thing about the Cisco program is I was paying $50, or Blessings was paying $50 a carton for cereal cups from Amazon, and from Cisco we pay $30. So it's a huge savings. It's a huge savings. Besides, and they deliver to the church where the food, where we store, versus to my garage where I have to then cart. So.
Since you brought me up here, the thing I want to mention about, yes, we are doing certain things with Cisco, and they're price sensitive, and that doesn't mean we are still working primarily with Save-A-Lot. And as our local vendor, local family owned, you've heard me say that over and over, you don't need it here again. But, they are still our primary. And we work, when we do this with Cisco, they always have an opportunity to provide the same product at a similar price, but they're just not able to do that in their distribution. So I just want to make that point. They are still a primary service.
We haven't abandoned the locals.
Family is amazing.
Next, please. And we had, no, you gotta go back.
It skipped
We welcome new
You'll get there.
volunteers. That's Caleb.
All right.
That's our
There we go. We got it.
That's our Caleb. He is 1 year old and he loves to come to Blessings because his big brother is now in UPK. And who wouldn't love it, because he can push things that have wheels and pull things that have wheels, and sometimes he even gets a ride on things that have wheels. So that's our grandson.
Very nice.
Okay, then we get a phone call in October from the National Blessings Program in Kentucky saying they've gotten a phone call from the Dollar Tree manager in Fulton, New York, and he wants to run this program. And they said, well, it's okay with us if you want to do it. We told them not this, the forbidden foods, which are basically ramen and, high sugar, high salt things. And so the Dollar Tree manager he had an assortment of foods there, and every shopper that came through, I don't know if any of you were there, and were asked, would you like to purchase a food for Blessings in a backpack? And they would scan the food and put it in the thing, and we said, well, sounds good. First week was like 800. That was the second week, 1,500. The third week, you want to click? The third week we were up to like 2,100, and we ended up with just barely under 3,000 food items, which is a lot of items. And he wanted his boxes back each week, so our volunteers were wonderful, but we spent a lot of time unpacking, sorting, and in the sorting, we also realized that some of the food items, and you're never gonna look at gift horse or be fussy, just be thankful for what people are giving you as gifts, were not exactly appropriate for our kids. You can see on that cart there, large cans, 1 pound cans of SpaghettiOs or, beefaroni, that kind of thing. We just can't put them in the backpack of a 5-year-old. And then there were some protein bars. And when people see protein, they think healthy, but they have nuts in them, and we can't give those to a kid either. So certain things that were not really accessible, we put them aside, and what to do. And then first I have to give credit to Samantha at Lanigan, who emailed us and said, hey, have you ever thought of doing something for the secondary schools? And I said, well, yes, I know that question came up here when we met with you last year, and we said it really is a question of funding. And I said, well, yeah, but it is still a question of funding. But then I thought, well, you know, we have food, at least to start them off. Plus, last year in January, we met, all of the Oswego County backpack programs met up at City BOCES. And the BOCES program runs theirs, because they mainly have teenagers, runs theirs like a food pantry. You know, the shelves would be filled over there, and the kids can come in once a week and pick 2 of this, 2 of that, two of each of the categories. Then they're not being given foods that I don't need that, I'm allergic to that, you know. They're taking foods that they choose, and it gives them dignity and, you know, hopefully good nutrition. So we said, let's talk. So then next slide. This is what we sent over to G. Ray Bodley. It was quite a thing. You can see a lot of cans of pasta, cans of...
There's more food there than it looks, and it's very heavy.
Some of the things from Dollar Tree were like big pouches of cereal, you know, things with nuts, things that needed to be cooked, things that needed to be heated. And the 2 teachers, one of the guidance counselors and the homeschool teacher from the Bodley came over and picked up the food just this month. They promised me, I said, now, be nice and share with the junior high. And they said, yes, we will, yes, we will. But, you know, there's a lot of different ways that we can support each other. Because they said, well, we have space for it, but we don't have funding. And I said, well, you know, there's way... First of all, this way fell into our laps of how do you fill your backpacks? And the Dollar Tree manager has indicated to us he's willing to do another one of these in the spring or something like that. So, you know, there's ways that we can do it, and we can maybe help them using, we're under the 501c3 of the National Blessings Program. So for things like writing grants or, you know, looking for donations, if we want to run it through our program, that's okay with us. You know, as we said to the Dollar Tree manager, they're Fulton students, they're just bigger ones. And really, as I said to Carrie Kaminsky, I said, you know, what's to think that the kids that we fed in 6th grade are not still going to be hungry in 7th grade and 8th grade and 9th grade? They're just bigger. That's it. So.
Couple things. The Dollar Tree thing just sort of fell into us. It was like an amazing gift. And a couple of things we were able to do. One of the things, people always ask us about your food. How is it nutritious and what have you? I always like to tell the groups I speak with that the thing we do is we look for high protein, we look for low sodium, and low sugar. Is that right? Low sugar. Those are the 3 keys. And we match our menus up with the national suggested menus. And I can tell you, we exceed that nutritional level locally here. But the nice thing about the Dollar Tree thing, we got some things, as Susan said, we really can't give to the kids under that line. However, if you give additional foods,
Yes.
If you give additional foods, you
beyond the 6.
Beyond the 6, beyond the nutritional marks I just said, you can exceed. You basically can do that. So the cool thing is, some of these kids got Pop-Tarts for Thanksgiving. That was an additional item. Now isn't that cool? I mean, that's when it gets really, you know, when things sort of come together and expand. They got Pop-Tarts.
All right.
That's great.
No.
See? Okay.
Okay. On to the new year. You don't get them going on foods and nutrition. Okay. 2025 is going to be a year of change. Okay. We've been doing this since 2017. We announced last June to the people at Prince of Peace that, you know, this coming school year is our last year. It's physically difficult for us, okay? We're looking for people in the Fulton community who want to fight child hunger. There's many different ways that people can help. And I'm especially imploring you here tonight, because one thing that our group has been lacking, we've had great representation from the Fulton community in the service groups like the Rotary and the Lions and the Women's Club and other churches. But we lack somebody besides our homeschool liaison teachers on the inside. Teachers, board members, people connected with the schools. And that's really helpful, because even last week when we were at the Lions Club doing a presentation, a Lions Club member sitting there said, I work at Lanigan School and I see how the kids react to their bags on Friday. And you don't know what a moral boost that is to hear. And it's a boost to everybody sitting there to hear, yeah, this is really needed. Yes, it's really urgent. It helps raise awareness and it helps raise monetary support. So the last two things are various jobs. I'm not going to go into them, but we've broken it down to at least 6 or even more jobs. Nobody has to do everything, because that's untenable. And the more ideas and the more new things. It's got to be, regeneration. We don't need to do the same old, except for make sure the kids have something to eat on Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so I'm asking your support in asking people, have you ever thought of using your skill in X to work with Blessings in a Backpack once a month? Or, do this from home. For example, I'm not an Excel spreadsheet person. I got a sheaf of papers. I'd love to have somebody, put it all on Google Docs and, Google whatever, and so everybody can see it. So that kind of thing, okay? Do you have any questions for us, besides nutrition questions?
I have a couple of questions if you're willing to answer.
Of course.
First one is, what kind of revenue do you need to be bringing in through donations to make a program like the summer one or all these extra things continue, like you were able to have this year?
Okay. Each one of the pre-packs runs approximately $3.54. So we spent just under $2,000, which is what we received. So that would be in addition to the $130 a year we budget for each kid. So our September to June revenue is $36,400, if I want to pull that out of my head, or whatever 280 times 130 is. And that would be in addition. I did keep on asking the teachers in the summer, is this meeting a need? Because I had no idea, were kids at risk going to the program or whatever? And they said, oh yeah, no, we don't need more. So at least for last year, that's what met the need, about $2,000.
Thank you. And I guess another question, I was part of the leadership of Oswego County group.
Mm-hmm.
Have you reached out to them at all? Because one of the things they do, because I'm on the mailing list since I participated in the program, is they'll actually reach out when they find out people have absences in different community groups like this, and they'll say, hey, they have new openings for board members, would anyone be interested? And then it goes out to every member who's ever graduated from that program.
Thank you for volunteering to help us with that, Mr. Connors. That is a wonderful suggestion.
No problem. If you get the information to me or Brian and he gets it to me, I'd be
Yes.
happy to forward it on to the head
Yes,
of the program and just say, here's a group that's looking for more people to be involved. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just know I get stuff all the time, different groups, and especially for the one like this that hits home, I'd love to put you in contact with them.
That sounds wonderful. One thing I can tell anybody who was thinking is there is no liability for working with this group, because we call it a steering committee, if you see there. The board of directors that makes the policies, that makes the decisions is in Louisville, Kentucky. And we operate under them, so we are really a local organization. There's no legal or, fiduciary responsibility aside from following their guidelines of honesty and integrity and, treating people fairly. So it's not like you're on a board of directors and you have to serve a term of 3 years or something like that. So, okay.
And these bags are put in the kids' backpack in their
Yes.
lockers so that
Yes.
they're not.
Actually, the lady at the Lions meeting the other night, last week, said the kids are excited, and I don't think the youngest kids feel any stigma at all about getting them. They think it's something special. They think the school gives them this food. That's great. The bags say save a lot, but what do they know, type of thing. But I don't know about, yes, but they're given out Friday afternoon. Unless it looks like it's gonna be a snow day, because the bags are in the schools on Tuesdays. That's when Golden Sun picks them up and brings them to the schools. So,
When do you pack them sort of weekly? If somebody wanted to volunteer, like what's the typical date and time?
we generally, because of both Save-A-Lots, Thursday night truck that comes in, plus our delivery from Cisco on Thursdays, we generally, on Friday mornings, we meet up at Prince of Peace and we do what we call unboxing or setup. So we open up all the boxes and, set up all the foods on a table. And usually packing happens on 9:30 on a Saturday morning, okay? And if you'd like to volunteer to pack, send an email, seriously, to Blessings in a Backpack. Because we only have 2 packings in December, with the big vacation. But I'm gonna need somebody on January, 3rd and 4th or something like that, before the kids return. So we have bags to send that first week when they return.
Thank you.
It takes about an hour. It's a very social type of thing. You go round and round the table, you get your steps in. People have fun doing it. Some groups say, we have this group from the Lions that's very competitive and they think they're the fastest because they get it done in 45 minutes. But, I'm not gonna keep time.
Competition.
Well, it's a very fulfilling, I did it through the Rotary. It was wonderful. And just to know what you were doing and then to see the kids succeed. So it's highly recommended. It's just very gratifying. I don't know if any other board members have anything else to add, but just thank you so much. It makes such an impact.
You're welcome.
I do want to ask a question. Do you find that you get companies that will like match gifts? And if so, like where would somebody go to do that? Because I know a few people who have asked that question.
We have one donor who works up at Constellation, and she gets a match.
Okay.
And she asked me even just recently she must have had to sign up again. I was able to send her the W-9 or whatever she needed to prove, that we were the 501c3, whatever the blessings. We have access to all of the IRS forms to prove we are who we are. And so she gets a match because actually we got this donor list from, all of our money is run through an account in Louisville. Any money we receive, if you were to, give me a whole bunch of money tonight, I would send it down to Louisville to our account, and our bills are paid through that account. So I got a donor list and I see, who is this from? Somebody in Massachusetts, and why are they recurring, And then I put it together because they occurred right with this person's donations. Must be monthly donations, so.
Okay.
And I said, is this you, or are you doing this? So, yes, we can do that if it is a nationally recognized, charity, so.
Well, I have to say that I should have been doing this for the last couple of years because I know that Constellations does do that, and that's one of the reasons why I was asking, because It's great when you can get double the
Yes,
bang for your buck.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's awesome.
And in fact, if those of you who are aware with charitable donations, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving is always called Giving Tuesday. If you haven't been hit up by any of your charities, I don't know, they must be asleep.
Alumni Association.
Yeah, this and that kind of stuff. We put on our Facebook page today, anybody who gives through our Facebook page, which has a link to our direct account in Louisville, we have a donor who will match up to $500 donations done on Giving Tuesday. So that's a way to tease a little bit more too. Okay. Anything else? We've taken up a lot of your time here.
Well, we appreciate everything that you do for our students and
Thank you.
for all the work you do. We're going to be sad when you guys retire because you come in, you share your good news, you entertain us. We think that you guys do a lovely job.
The
Thank you.
biggest thing is to keep the focus, learn this, for if you're volunteering or doing some volunteer work, how valuable that is, but to keep the focus on the mission. And the focus is to feed insecure kids in Fulton. And we all know there are a lot of food insecure kids in Fulton and beyond in Oswego County. So that's the keep your focus there. The work becomes a little bit less in a way, so.
But the boxes are still heavy,
Yeah, they are, but,
especially when you have a bum leg. Sorry.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you so
Happy
much.
Thanksgiving to everybody.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Kayla's coming, it ought to be a.
Fun. Let's make it fun.
Our next item this evening is our capital projects update. We have Matt Herbert and Mike James. Matt's from LaChase and Mike is from King and Kane. Just tell me when to drive.
Good evening, thanks for having us. Not as uplifting of a presentation as just that.
I thought the same thing, how can we follow these people?
Right.
I was thinking.
Let's talk capital projects. Go ahead to the next one. So we have 3 projects right now. 2 of them are closing out, the 2019 and the ARP project are both closing out, and the 2023 is just getting started. The next one. So the 2023, or the 2019 Phase 2C, to the next one, is in closeout. We have final architectural punch list from Mike and his team at King and King, working through testing and balancing the new HVAC equipment with the pool and the different UVs and cooling equipment that was installed at GRD, new boiler at Fairgrave. Or Lanigan, I'm sorry, and we're just working through paperwork closeout at this point. Everyone's expected to be closed out by the end of the year. The next slide. The ARP funds HVAC project at GRB. Again, we are in final punch with architectural work. HVAC, we're testing and balancing. Contractors are expected to be closed out by the end of this month. We're working with the finance department to make sure we have everything in our final paperwork close out.
And there's been a rash of pay-apps in Port Kate and Paul, I think, over the last few days, I've seen 10 or 12 pay applications, so.
I think they're
It's all
cursing our
coming
name.
together.
Just give an example of the scope of work, the HVAC. I know we did all of the
Yep, so the server room, like the main server room, for the entire district received a new cooling system because the old one was barely working on a good day. So the crack unit, as it's called, computer room AC unit, was completely replaced. So now that room has 3 different types of cooling, so in the event that there's any sort of power outage, you now have that on emergency circuits, so that the district will hopefully never lose its internet capabilities for any of the equipment that they have.
And we have a backup to the backup, so
Backup.
we're in good shape.
We, in the art room, you can see that the kilns, we added 2 new vents for that. So now this system actually has a dual purpose. There's a downdraft vent system that is a part of the unit, and then we've added hood vents over the top of it to capture any particulate that gets out of those, just keeping the room even cleaner, and adding filter air, to the rest of that room.
There was some concern about the quality of the environment in that room. All of the ceiling in the grid was replaced, and our mechanical engineers replaced the unit ventilator as well as improved the exhaust in the space, so it's really different.
Probably the largest part of this project itself was we added air conditioning to the gym. We replaced both north and south units, and they both have heating and cooling capabilities, so that will add a huge functionality to the gym itself in the summer and spring months.
Yeah, we know from working with Brian that you often do testing in that space, so that really could be impactful.
And then we did the 36 units in classrooms?
That was the 2019.
Right.
But
So
yeah,
it was the rest of it. So there was a lot of work done.
we did a lot of HVAC work over the last two projects, which we know is not something that the general public might see, but that the students and the faculty are gonna feel.
Thank you.
The 2023 capital project is just getting off the ground. Next slide. The phase one, we just took bids, and that is mostly work at the GRB gymnasium and Fairgrave, replacing window sashes. And we had bids, we had a really good bid turnout for a smaller job. And Pack Associates, local, out of Oswego, will be the GC, and Rombo Electric will be doing the electrical work. Western New York Floors is one of the premier flooring contractors in the state, and we have booked them for next summer to redo the floor and redo the logo. And then Gym Equipment, Facility Equipment Services, has actually come in and done most of their work. The new bleachers have been installed. Most of the new backboards and motors are in. Just a little bit of work that they have left to do that'll coordinate with the other contractors. And this scope of work will start late winter into spring, when we can get into the gym and really start to knock out the painting and those big scopes of work.
Phase one also includes some scope at the Fairgrave Elementary School, which all of the original windows or the replacement windows at Fairgrave have balances that don't quite work right. It's very difficult for the staff to operate. So it's not a window replacement project, it's more of a hardware replacement project. So all of the single hung windows will have their hardware replaced. And we're also addressing the damaged stairs that lead to the main entrance at Fairgrave. So the railings will be replaced. We'll remove that existing concrete, which has been spalled and patched a number of times over the years, and that will all be new, as well as some sidewalks at Fairgrave.
So right now, the gymnasium, if you walked out, how many of you have been to facing? So I know a lot of the feedback on the bleachers has been real positive. I've asked kids, I've asked students. What's really exciting is anybody can go all the way to the top and sit anywhere. In the past, some people were limited to sitting in the first or second row because of mobility issues. Now you can actually take the staircase and sit up higher. So you'll see grandparents up higher now. Really an opportunity for more of our families to really enjoy that space. The Fulton at the end on the mats is already in, and as Mike said, the backboards are already in as well. So the next step is really resurfacing that floor and doing all the painting work. And the rafters have been painted also already as well.
And it's much improved, but the change will really occur when the floor is refinished and the walls are painted. You can see some of the concepts we have for the new Red Dragon logo.
And the reason for the disjointedness was this phase was held up at SED. For nothing that anyone did, it was just SED's review times have been extended.
It was almost double. We were looking at 16 to 18, and there's what, 32 to 34 weeks.
So that's why we've done, like, all the gym equipment is installed, but we don't have the other contractors on board. Phase two, which we're expecting back from SED within the coming weeks, and we're expecting to bid in February timeframe, is a lot of exterior work. The parking lot at GRB right now, that is a gravel lot, will become a formal parking lot. We're redoing all of the parking lots at GRB except for the William Gillard parking area right there, because that's technically a part of the city. But we're redoing all the other parking lots. We're doing some parking over at Granby, and then just a small amount of work over at Fairgrave. And again, hopefully we're getting all of that back shortly from SED so that we can get it into bidding hands and this work will take place. Hopefully the site work can start this year.
And we've reviewed this scope list in the past, and I know that looks familiar too, with the GRB high school toilet room renovations, which has been a critical item for years. A few other things are worth pointing out are the high school auditorium with sound and lighting. We had a very good meeting with your staff, that's part of the scope. That'll have a significant impact. Making some security improvements at the main entrance at the high school. And some structural improvements at a few of the original exterior walls that we discovered some issues there. A number of other items, including updating the passenger elevator to meet code and ADA requirements. So, a lot happening in this space.
Next slide. Phase 3 is the Fulton Junior High Athletic Complex and the Education Center. We are submitted to SED, and right now the timeframes I have on the spreadsheet or on the presentation are what SED was when we submitted. So review times have come down, and hopefully we can start this work as soon as we get it back in 2025. Mike might be able to talk about it a little bit more, but this is the phase where we're doing all the fields between the entire athletic complex fields between the high school and the junior high is being, we're updating the drainage, we're retopping it, the baseball and softball fields are being redone and readdressed, the dugouts are being addressed, and even the roof and some of the bathroom facilities at the athletic center.
The roof and there's actually sewage pump that's being replaced.
And then the education center here is a lot of the brick that's being reworked. Part of what was done via a capital outlay is just being sort of extended because this building has some extensive needs. So we're starting that work in the phase 3.
Yeah, the other item in this phase that we don't have listed, but it's critical, is window replacement at the junior high school. And if you're on campus there tomorrow, you'll see that we have a third-party contractor coming in to look at some exploratory masonry removal so that we completely understand the conditions above the window heads. So if we need to do some flash and repairs as part of that window replacement. We tried to get them here earlier in the summer, we couldn't make that happen, so unfortunately it's happening, but we'll have that information in time for.
You've done repairs over the years since I've been around fascia, and leaks and damage that we're having. So we've done a lot of repairs over the years. So as we move into this phase, looking at all the windows, this is part of what that is, to ensure we don't have leaks.
That's right, that's right.
Okay. Any questions so far?
I have a couple.
Okay.
The first one is, based on the shorter times, you said 2025, is there no clear estimate yet for phase 3? And I guess with that question is, if we have approval from SED for phase 2 and phase 3, could they be things done concurrently, or do you have to complete one phase before working on the next?
So we don't have approval for phase 3 yet, we just submitted.
So this was really recently?
It was very recent.
Okay, I didn't know with the timelines what we were predicting, that's what.
But there's a new process that's been recently made available about SED. They used it a few years ago, and it's called a third-party review. So Tim, there may be opportunities for us. It costs the district a little bit of money, but it may save several months of review time. So we're considering that to see how that fits into the other phase.
But we have been looking at what we can run concurrently and putting things together, sort of as a repackaging when we get approval. We had expected to see phase 2 be approved even earlier than it was now. We're working with what we have. And with phase 3, there was some extensive scope verification that Mike and his team wanted to do with the district to make sure that we were covering all the bases. So the design timeframe for the phase 3 was a little extended, just to make sure that we were covering everything that needed to be done.
Thank you.
Next. And phase 4, Mike and his team are working to verify scopes and start to put together their documents. And we're expecting to submit to SED in a February timeframe.
This is the final phase, and it involves work at both Volney and Lanigan, as you can see. So it's the same scope document that we referred to in the past. If you have any questions, I could touch on that, but we're just beginning that process now. But it's a smaller project, so that's why it's a February submission.
So all aspects, all phases will be submitted by the end of February.
That's right.
Much quicker this time, you know, with the COVID really threw it off, so it's a much more compact timeframe this time, which is good. It's a lot of work, internal and external. So.
We will definitely be putting a strain on the district schools, you know, with how much work we're doing over the next several years, you know, and so we're working very hard to coordinate with Brian and Elva, the principals, and make sure that everyone understands what we're gonna be doing, because there's a lot of work that's gonna be had in all the buildings.
And that's the logic of using a multi-phase approach. You're not bidding the entire project and having all of your buildings under construction at the same time. It allows us to plan a little more carefully and adjust the impact.
But I think the timeliness of doing it this way also, we're competing against many other districts. You know, there's districts in this county that just rolled out projects. We're all gonna be competing with some of those same similar vendors. And obviously, you know, if some of the work to the south is happening with Micron, if that happens, they're gonna be competing for some of the work. So I like the fact that we've got all, you know, the 3 projects are in the 3 phases, the 4th will be going in. So we're in the hopper, and we may wanna look at, and we did that before, the expedited third party. It's part of, you can take it right out of your 20 million, it's not that expensive, it's a very tiny amount. But it allows us to get out in front and get our vendors and hands on our vendors so that we can hopefully get these projects in before other districts as well, but in a way that we can manage it to make sense for our kids and our staff here in this district, so. Can you add anything to that, or?
No, that's it, but we saw in this small phase 1 project, there's quite a bit of interest. And I think the regional contractors would like to work for Oakland School District and other school districts. It's reliable and they understand the process, so I think as we roll out these other phases, we'll have similar interest.
And it was a smaller package, as it was intended to be, because it was supposed to come out earlier than it did. We had 5 electrical bidders on a package of work that was under 100 grand. I mean, that's really, really good for a small package like that. And all the numbers were very competitive, so it wasn't, there was a lot of interest in the projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Do I have yours too, Miss? So next up is going to be the monthly operations and finance report. Kate, you're going to be presenting this evening.
Do you want me to share or?
Do you want me to share, or do you want me to get off of there?
No, go ahead, Brian.
We'll see if I can drive for you. Let's see.
Thank you.
Hopefully we have enough power. It looks like about 50%, so I think we're good.
Yeah, so
It's going
we're
down.
following blessings in the back and Matt and Mike, so the excitement level keeps declining.
Excuse me.
Those 3 really make So,
I should have saved the best for
this is
that.
gonna be looking at our October financials. If you wanna go to the next slide, Ryan. So, as we always do, we like to compare the prior year, where we were in terms of revenue and expenditures at this time, end of October in the prior year, and then to the right of that in the current year, which you can see we're on the same trajectory at this point, about 35% of our revenue and 24% expenditures. Next slide. Last month we showed August as compared to September because there was a big change from August to September. You know, as we talked about last time, not as much happens in the summer, so you don't see as much on the revenue or the expense side. Then in September, it starts to increase. We saw a lot more revenue. And then in October, you see revenue went up a bit and expenses continue to go up. We have 3 pays in October, 3 pay periods, so that makes a difference in our expenditures. And I apologize, that year-to-date of the current year for October, the expenses should say 24%, not 14%.
Was it 24% last year as well then?
Yeah.
September and October, both 24.
We've been on track so far as compared to last year, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You can go to the next one. And we did the revenue breakdown, And you can see in the middle there, September's is still up there, and then October to the right. There wasn't a huge amount of change. I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on, Paula.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of activity in October outside of the normal tax collection that we received. It was the end of our first installment. So the middle of October was when we really received the bulk of our taxes. And then we had one state aid payment, which was around $280,000. So there wasn't a lot of outside activity besides the taxes and the state revenue. Federal grants are just getting started. So any monies that were coming in from federal would be the initial 25% payment of the grants that were approved. And we're still seeing some of those approval process coming through from the grants office. So as those come in, we'll receive the 25%. But as our expenses continue to grow for those grants, we'll be submitting reimbursements for them as well.
And I think we are expecting another small state aid payment sometime in December, so there will be a little bit more revenue there. All right, and then the expenditure breakdown, this is similar to what we showed last month too. We broke it down into some different categories: salaries, benefits, equipment, contractual supplies, our debt, and interfund transfers, which we won't do those until a little bit further into the year. But again, September is still up there, and then to the right of that, as of the end of October. And so you can kind of see where expenditures went from September to October, broken down by the different categories. And as I said, so pretty much as expected, the salaries, we spent quite a bit more there with the 3 pay periods in October, and benefits, the same thing. So, you know, things are, right now anyway, spending as we would expect them to. I think that's all.
Any questions? Or Kate?
Any questions on this part? We did prepare a couple of other things. I know you just received them today, so I understand if there aren't questions at this point. If you do have questions, I'm happy to answer them. You know, we wanted to take a closer look at some board spending and election spending. So you do have that information now, but I know you just got it. So if you want time to sort of look it over and digest, certainly reach out.
And what's in that document, Kate, so everybody knows what they're gonna be looking at?
Sure, so just, I did the past 3 years of board spending, you know, as we had talked a bit before, you know, in the past, certain things have come out of the board line, such as dues, association dues. That is no longer the case. There's a separate line for that. There's a separate line for the district clerk. So really, I just did the past 3 years of spending, the contractual board spending, which is broken down into newspaper ads, registration and accommodation costs for conferences, any reimbursements other than those costs that are incurred at conferences, and then if there's any catering for any meetings. So those are the main costs you'll see. And then I just did a quick, the last 2 years of our election costs, including, you know, the bold election systems that just really came into play in the last couple of years. So feel free to look that stuff over, and like I said, I'm happy to answer questions now, or, you know, after everybody's had a chance to digest it a little bit.
We could discuss it at the next budget workship, we could put it on the next
sounds great.
agenda,
Yeah.
12th or 10th of December,
Yeah.
either one.
Okay.
It took us, well, we were going through it a couple days ago, and it was interesting, you know, it's just to see each year and the consistencies and also areas that we had to change. So there's a lot of good conversation there, so, as there is in all budget, but that's, you had asked to look at the board one, so that's what that's gonna be.
It's certainly good for me, you know, still being fairly new, to look back a couple of years and look at patterns and what was done, so it's helpful all the way around.
Okay, and any other questions around that part? And then the final is just a reminder, or an announcement, the district coherence the site-based meeting will be December 9th in the Fulton Junior High School Library and Media Center. It was really a successful meeting when we had first time this year, so we look forward to, this will be really looking at our progress and getting feedback from each of the schools and their teams about what they're doing in their schools and their data, as well as how we're looking district-wide.
We should
on our
have survey
teaching
results
grants.
then, that we can analyze that data.
The survey, yeah, we should have the survey results by then as well, so.
Updates to the New York Inspire, especially for graduate control and stuff.
So a lot of good stuff.
This is, the meeting that you guys are doing 4 times a year with
Correct.
all of the buildings.
That's correct.
Now, are some of those, or hopefully all of those buildings doing their own meetings as well?
My understanding,
Have
yes.
we seen any of these happening yet? 'Cause I know that-
Lannigan's was Monday, so I know they
You
are
mean their
doing
site-based committees
that was
with
one of
it?
my
Yes.
questions too with the policy,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're all doing that, because that's what they're supposed to do, but yes.
Yeah, I will follow up with them to ensure, but yes, they were all scheduled in their meetings.
Cause I know that
Junior high
I know that was a question that had come up
Yeah,
from
this
the
is-
community
Yep.
prior, and, I just wanted to just touch base, to let people know that it wasn't just combined into 4 meetings and that's it, that there are also other meetings going on, and so thank you for letting me know the ones that you guys
Yep.
both are aware of.
And I'll
so
have Jeff and
appreciate
Renee
that.
follow up with the schools as well, because we should be posting the minutes, so, as well.
Yes,
And that's the conclusion of the superintendent's report. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. Just much gratitude in my last time as the superintendent at Thanksgiving time. I'm so gracious for everything that everybody does, and I see in my position just the impacts, and tonight, the blessings. There's a community organization there's nothing more gratifying than walking in and seeing the bins full of the bags on a Tuesday. You walk in, and I was there when Golden Sun was delivering at Fairgrave one day. It just goes so far, and then you see the kids' faces. It makes a big difference for our families, and there are so many other organizations. So thank you to all of those organizations and support networks out there that are there for our kids, and thank you to our families and all of you. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you, and same to you.
All right. 4.01, accept financials.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.02, approve disposal of surplus property.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.03, accept donation, Bolton Junior High Student Council.
Move it.
So Tim and, who's second, Nick?
Nick.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.04, accept donation from an anonymous donor.
Move it.
Second.
Who was that now?
Lori
Lori
and
moved it.
Fallon.
Just pick someone.
All those in favor, Lori and Fallon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.05, accept a donation from the Fulton Savings Bank.
Move it.
So Nick and
Second.
Lori second, okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. I just want to say thank you to those organizations and the anonymous donor who donated such generous gifts to our school district and our students. Again, falling in line of thanks. Our community always does so much for our kids, and we really appreciate it, so thank you. Action 5.01, approve Committee on Special Education.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. I would like to ask my colleagues this evening if they would like to batch personnel, batch 601 through 610.
Move it.
Second.
So that was Tim Connors and Lori. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Let's move into board forum. Mr. Crandall.
Oh, I just want to thank Blessings in a Backpack for their presentation. Hope they meet their needs always. I want to thank Katie for her presentation. We need more money.
Always.
We need more money.
Well, we could go out and do what the Salvation Army does, have kettles, you know.
I think that's frowned upon, but.
Well, you never know. And just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
Ms. Hutchinson?
I agree with my colleague, Mr. Crandall. We do always need more money. Thank you, everybody, for your presentations tonight, especially Blessings in a Backpack. I think that this might be a really great opportunity for our National Honor Society or National Junior Honor Society members, that maybe we can reach out and see if there's any interest in our kiddos helping, especially if they're meeting at Saturday morning to help. I know I will be reaching out to my kiddo to see if that's something he's willing to do. But yeah, thank you, everybody, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Ms. Paul?
I want to say the same thing. The blessings in the backpack, since I just came from schools, I saw how much the kids look forward to it. And if for some reason, like the delivery person is a little late, they want to know where it is. And I think that's such a great program, and they did a great presentation. And I want to thank Kate for the presentation too, and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Mr. Connors?
I'd like to thank Blessings as well. I hope we're able to get in touch and work with each other, because again, I think it's such a service for our kids, and any information, some of the things I've learned from my own non-for-profit, I'd love to help and try and make things easier. I think sometimes we're all trying to do great things, and the more we can work together, the more we can accomplish than on our own. I'd also like to thank all the people who donated. All those things go a very long way for our district and impacting our kids' lives, and so we can't thank you enough. And the last thing I just want to throw out there is, we did talk in policy about one of the questions. I know sometimes there might be something that comes up that we want to address as a board. And so I talked with Brian, and we kind of came up with on the call that the best approach in the future, if we want to do something like that, say we see something, is just to email Brian and say, hey, I think we need to look at this policy. And then he said if he gets it within time, that we will review it at the next meeting. So I just thought that was something I wanted to share with all of the board, just in case you come across something and don't necessarily know where to get it to, so that we are reviewing it. But that is something now we know directly to go to Brian for that. So that's all I've got for today, and I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Tim. Mr. DeJalorme?
Thank you to King and King. I'm glad to see some of those projects coming to an end. I'll have a free Friday every now and then.
Well, they're gonna keep that meeting in place, don't worry.
We know to do that.
And of course, Blessing in a Backpack. What a great thing. I mean, and the fact that they actually put it in the backpack so that the kids aren't embarrassed when to see other kids seeing them getting free food. I mean, to even think about that. You know, I'd be handing it out the door as they're going on the bus, you know, but they're thinking of kids' feelings. That's it.
Thank you so much. I ditto all of my colleagues' comments and praise for all of the things that are going on in our district. We are doing good things. What a great time of year, falling into the holiday season as we start with our Thanksgiving. I do want to do a little shout out to welcome Desiree Trude to our staff that we approved tonight to be taking over for Mrs. Perry when she leaves us. So I know that she will be in good hands with you when she starts.
Mrs. Step.
And, you know, we'll let her know that we are, you know, we do need you, so we will need her. And you can prepare her for all of our happy questions that we often call you and email you about.
Just leave your private number when you do.
Yeah. She's leaving the country, Tim. She doesn't want to hear from us.
It's two for you tonight. I don't know if you're gonna make it home.
I know this might seem like it's a little bit early to think about, but you may have gotten an email from NISBA talking about Lobby Day that will be coming up in February. It might be something that we want to start talking about as to if any of the board members are able to go. I believe it's February 12th, but there is also a virtual pre-conference prior to that, which I think might have been on the 7th, where we can go and we can help participate in discussions with our legislators and our policymakers before that actual lobby day. Speaking of that, I know we have some of our legislators here that often will meet with us, And if there's any concerns that any of you board members have at any point that you want me to bring to the Oswego County School Boards Association, we get together and try to, I know that we're trying to get together with Will Barkley about some items, and if there's anything that you guys, I know safety and security was one of the things we want to talk to him about. There's the electric busing still conversation that's still coming up. I know I spoke with Mr. Palvino about that the other day. He's going to kind of give us an update in the new year on where we stand in that. But if there's anything that you think that our legislators can help us with, that I can take to Oswego County School Board, I'm sure there's a list that our administrators might have for us for different funding projects or different things that we need their help with when we see that there's that disconnect from the state, and helping us get it out there. I would appreciate you guys just to email me so that I can bring things to that organization as well. So think about the lobby day if anyone is interested in going, so that we can kind of get those wheels rolling as well.
Can we do one other? I forgot, and
We
I
did.
should. We just said thank legislation hit my.
Yes, that was my next
say it?
thing.
Yes.
For
go
the
ahead.
healthcare reserve fund that just went through, I was gonna ask you, Mr. Palvino, if you just wanna do a little shout out because.
I just thought of that too.
I just wrote it down at the bottom. I was shoving it over here to acknowledge.
It was nice to get that email coming in, and finally the bills at the Senate and the Assembly were
Signed by the governor.
signed, and that should help us out greatly. But if you want to talk about
Yeah,
that a
so
little bit.
thank you to the board. We started this process, I believe, in October of '23, when that whole process started, and now we've come full swing. We've been working on that. And thank you to Assemblyman Barclay and Senator Mannion, who put forth Senate and Assembly bills for us to have a healthcare reserve fund. And, you know, I wish we had that last year at this time, because instead of it going in the capital account, which is the one where you could put, reserves and things like that, we unfortunately had put healthcare. This is where we need to. We're recognizing the fact that healthcare costs are increasing and also ever changing, and they're inconsistent from month to month. And that's happening more and more. Just like the cost of many things in the world, the cost of healthcare is also rising. So we're thankful. We received that email on Friday afternoon. I was late with the Board of Ed Weekly. I was still working on it, but maybe there was a reason for that, that I was able to add that to the weekly bulletin. I reached out. I had an interaction today with Brittany Jarrett. They're doing an article going out into the press. There's a press release from the Assemblyman went out, I think, this afternoon. I haven't seen it, but they were asking for a quote or two. So just thank you to the board who helped support that, and then also to our Assemblyman and our Senator who represented and helped us. And thank you to the Governor who signed it Friday afternoon. So thank you.
Yes. And with that, I just also want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of our families out there. May you have a well-deserved rest, to our staff and our students, and enjoy, your time off and time with family and the turkey, because that's what Thursday is really going to be about, right? Enjoy Mom's turkey. All right. With that, if there is nobody who wants to speak at our second board forum, or public forum, sorry, we are going to move into an executive session. Thank you for joining us. We will be back shortly.
You got time?
I probably should move it. Does somebody want to move it?
Move it.
Thank you, Fallon. Second. Lori. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. All right, can I get somebody to move action 8.01 adjournment?
Move it.
So that would be Nick and then Lori second.
Yes.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 5-0-0. Thank you. Have a great evening. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your
Same
break.
to you.